Welcome back to Chatooine, everyone. Today we're talking about the latest episode of Ahsoka, at episode 7. What is it called? Dreams and Madness, or Madness and Dreams?
Dreams and Madness.
Oh, how cute. Yeah, we'll talk about that, and then we got some Nielsen rating numbers for the Ahsoka series as well. Yeah, it's good news for you guys. It's good news. So all that more here on Chatooine. All right, so welcome back, everybody. We're here to talk about the latest episode, episode 7, Madness and Dreams and Madness, whatever the fuck.
We just went over this. God damn it!
I'm like a fish. My memory is really, really bad.
It's like right after the intro, you still get it wrong.
I'm just doing a bit. Like Shin, her name is still Skin in my mind. Every time I
In
see
case
it,
anyone is wondering, this show is obviously not scripted in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it used to be, but I mean, I just kind of lost all the
it's too much work
we had, and yeah, we're still kind of getting used to the swing of things. This is our first episode back, or when I say episode, I mean like the series of Ahsoka is like our first thing back that we've done, because we completely skipped Mandalorian season 3. I don't think we've covered a single.
We were gone for over a year, dude.
You were gone for a year. We were gone for.
Okay, you guys did like one stream without me in like last September, and
it was only me and Palpamemes too, and it was on I think Andor's. How many episodes did they drop for that? I think it was like 3.
It's a triplet, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all, but sure.
I vaguely remember it. I saw it on the thing. So yeah, we still need to do eventually like an Andor stream, talk about that and Mandalorian season 3. But today we'll talk about episode 7 of Ahsoka, and this one has different reactions in the community than last week's, and it's kind of an oddly mixed review. So as usual, let's do a roundtable. Lunga, start us out. What did you think about episode 7?
It was solid. I'm not gonna say it was like great. Last episode I thought was much better, but that doesn't mean it was a bad episode. It was solid. It progressed the plot fairly well. There's a few issues that just were really weird to me, which I'll get into regarding Ezra and Sabine. But other than that, it was solid. It got word, and the ending, I'm up in the air about, because I need to see what happens last episode. So that, again, next episode is going to determine how well this episode fares for me, I guess, at the end of the day.
Goldman, you're next.
I'm with Lunga, except maybe I'm a little more harsh. I thought the episode was mid, and I feel like a lot of people use the term mid in a strictly negative connotation. Mid means middle of the pack. I thought it was a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 episode. There were some moments I enjoyed because, again, I am a Star Wars fan. I'm a big Rebels fan, but I do have a lot of questions and concerns about the next episode. So I guess similar to Lunga, a lot of my concerns about this episode need to be verified or disproven in the next episode. So we'll get into that.
Yeah, I think I like this episode probably the most out of all you 4, which is kind of rare. I mean, I'm kind of usually in the middle.
Okay, well, yeah, whatever. And then you had this dark turn these past.
I fell to the dark side for a little bit, but my hope is rising because of the Ahsoka show. I will fully admit that. All right, I really love this episode. Was it fantastic? Was it episode 4 or 5? No, it wasn't to that level, in terms of writing and stuff. But I like that they tied up the loose thread, starting with Hera on Coruscant. I thought that entire scene was fantastic. Kind of what's going on with her and her mission. Is she going to get let go from the New Republic? C-3PO's sort of cameo was perfectly placed in because we needed Leia in this show in some way, and they did it in a very well manner. I'm not a fan of deepfake, at least deepfake when it comes to bringing dead actors back to life like the Flash did. I think that's very unethical. And so I love the way they incorporated 3PO in to sort of bring Leia to have a voice in this show. My biggest issue with this right now, and like Lunga said, this could be resolved in the next episode, but I don't think it will be, is Baylan and his entire character. What the hell is he doing? I mean, there was a pretty big, I guess if you can call it a plot twist or whatever, where he just basically sends Shin away and says, you're on your own now. I've got my own thing going on and you're too distracted by this other nonsense. I'm not sure if I was the biggest fan of that, but it's too early for me to kind of judge that we'll see based on next episode. Thrawn was fantastic in it. Seeing him sort of watch almost like a board game, the entire battle play out, that was awesome. I really loved seeing him. I think my favorite part from Thrawn in this episode was his reaction to finding out that Ahsoka is Anakin Skywalker's apprentice. And his first reaction is, okay, so we need to change some things up because of that. You know, she's going to be unpredictable, as he says. But I'd give this episode a solid 7 out of 10 for me personally.
I'm actually surprised I'm agreeing with Goldman the most in this. I'm with him. I think this was mid. Like there's a lot of moments that I was like, okay, this is fun. This is enjoyable. But there's a lot of character decisions, and I really feel like the story and the plot of this episode is where I'm kind of like, I'm not the biggest fan of it as compared to how I felt with the last episode from last week. So, yeah, it's weird because Connor, Papa Memes, listening to you and saying that you really liked the New Republic stuff, I couldn't stand that. Like, I remember the second the episode started and I looked at the set, I actually paused it and I was like, you know what? This looks really fake and plastic. Like the stuff that I don't like about a lot of this new, Ahsoka series so far and some of the other things we've seen in Star Wars is it just doesn't look good. And I thought the same thing with this episode from the start. And I didn't like the payoff with the New Republic stuff. I hate the incompetence of everyone pretty much ever in a lot of this stuff. It gets a little old for me. And the Baylan and Shin thing I think was interesting, but I can see the frustration with this episode being like, we're not really getting a good payoff with a lot of the explanations that are going on. Maybe we will with episode 8 that comes out next week. But at least with this episode, it didn't feel like it progressed the plot and the story as much as I feel like we were coming off of. The show was like a start and go. And you had to have these middle episodes, kind of like episode 3, where they just, build a hyperspace thing. You just had to have something that slowly moves it forward. And I feel like that's what this episode did. And a lot of the highlights for this episode were Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka. And that was kind of the focus. But because there's so many other story elements in this with Thrawn, with Baylan and Shin and Hera, you kind of have to tie it all in some way. So it's odd to me. It's very odd to me.
This could be resolved in the next episode.
Who's listening?
Someone's echo played through.
All right, that was my phone. I accidentally had it on.
Oh no!
I had it because I sent it in my Discord.
Okay.
Excuse me. My
Papa Memes likes to watch himself.
I have it zoomed in to the left corner.
He's just getting his phone out to reply to my thing and being like fake fan.
Yeah, gotta go.
I've got the chat up on my computer. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Let me just say, you're wrong. Okay, the plot progressed. The characters developed. We got plot development with the villains. So I'm sorry, you're just wrong. But I will say, you are not wrong.
Are you satisfied with like Baylan just being like,
oh no.
I was not satisfied. This guy.
No, I was disappointed with that.
Seemed out of left field, but let's kind of go through it as we have in the past couple weeks, where we go like little topic by topic and subject by subject. Goldman, what do you have to say?
Well, I guess we'll start chronologically. We'll start with the New Republic stuff, and I couldn't disagree with you more about the set. Like, I don't know what you want a little council room to look like. Like, did you expect like the Senate chamber from the prequels?
No, it doesn't have to be anything grand, but at least the Senate chambers looked like something realistic. This looks like a Thomas the Toy Train set. Like it looked corny.
That's what every Star Destroyer console looked like in the original trilogy. What are you talking about?
I don't know what Star Destroyer console you're talking about, but those actually have
control
like
panels,
personality and everything like that.
Buttons. More buttons.
Most of like the Star Wars world was like grimy and dirty and lived in, and the only things that were kind of clean were the Star Destroyers, like because it was like the English rule kind of stuff of all these white men just walking around and everything.
But this is a change, right? This is a change. This is a Republic trying to clean up the galaxy. I think it's a thematic. I mean, I think it's a little too clean, but I think it's a thematic decision.
If it was thematic, if there was thematic, the pipes would be clogged.
It's a contrast.
Imperial spies that are not working for him and all that crap.
No.
Can we just say they're on Coruscant? I know you hate the prequels because you're a fake fan, but Do you
It
remember
was
what
very clean.
Coruscant looked like?
No,
It
terrible.
was clean within the Jedi Order and all that area. Now, yes, you have the Coruscant undergrounds and stuff.
But there's an
of course.
element to it. Some of the
Even
stuff-
everything Empire. Remember, everything Empire was very crisp and glossy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
clean.
No, it
First
was
Order
not.
too.
It was not. They were living in a cave on Hoth. and it
You're mistaking the old quality camera
I
they
said
used in the
Empire.
70s.
Empire, not the movie Empire. I'm talking about the Empire.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Everything-
I apologize.
That's what I was going to say. Which faction are we talking about only? Because last I heard, the Empire
He
attacked
brought up the
the rebellion.
prequels. He brought up the prequels. So when you said Empire, I was going off of the movie by movie. Yes, no, the Empire was very clean. Besides the point,
Yeah.
the New Republic, the whole topic and the plot around it with Hera, it's the same beat we've been beating
Mhm.
time and time again throughout this series of the New Republic just being so damn dumb and incompetent that you have this senator guy who I know we're supposed to root against, who's like, oh, you're screwing up this, that, and the other. And he seems to be the only guy in the room with like an actual complaint. And all his points aren't valid, but some of them kind of are valid.
You like the asshole?
I don't like him.
Senator Ziono. He has a name.
I said we're meant to. Oh, I'm sorry, Ziono. That's a little racist of whoever made that name, by the way. I'm teasing. But Star Wars, we're used to this,
Anyways,
right? But no,
I think it's
I'm
because
not
he's
saying I like-
Asian and the name starts with an X. I mean, I get what he's
I thought I
saying.
started with a Z.
No,
who
but that's-
cares?
Hey, Nick Coleman brought it up to tell me that's what his name was, so I got to respect him and Skin. And he's a good asshole character, but this entire little like meeting thing, it was boring. It was really boring.
Okay, only I want to say I will agree on one thing when it comes to the look, and something that frustrated me to no end is C-3PO in terms of how he looked. His wiring on his lower chest, that looked pretty bad. And other than that, I thought it
Okay,
was
can
fine.
we get to some real shit here now, please? Instead of
That was my point,
complaining,
bringing that up.
complaining of
We need to shut the fuck
too
up.
clean set and wiring doesn't look right. Get the fuck out of here.
And we can all admit
Let's-
C-3PO was member berries, all right? That was member berries. We're gonna deny that.
He's a protocol droid. This is literally his job. This is what he's like. I mean,
Okay. So Longa,
But-
did you or did you not like the New Republic scene?
okay, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. And here I'm gonna just give you the scene that ends everything, the whole discussion. They have to be incompetent for the sequels to happen.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and for this
They
whole
have to be
Yeah.
incompetent for the sequels to happen.
I mean, look at our own government. I'd say there's a lot of incompetence going on there. Now start a government from scratch, basically, and see how competent it is.
And I know a lot of people hate this, but that's literally what they're doing, because they're trying to fix, because the people are like 20 years after this happened, how did we get to this first order? How did this republic just fall apart that quick? How did it just overrun that quickly? Well, we're showing it. It becomes these people who had, a lot of them had good intentions, but basically didn't know what the fuck they were doing. These were people that maybe some of them were in the Senate, which was a useless Senate. All they did nothing during the Empire years. They just sat in a room and talked about shit that never really amounted to anything. So they were just glory positions, right? And they got paid for them. And that was about it. They never really had to legislate anything. A lot of them were ex-rebels, ex-military people that became politicians that really didn't know what the fuck. You listen to Grant. He one of the worst presidents we had because he was just a general from the Civil War and he became president. He was fucking horrible. So they didn't know what they're doing, and that kind of leads up to the whole. They don't believe it. Oh, we won. The Empire's gone. Well, there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about. They're Neville Chamberlain, in the 30s. Hitler's not going to do anything. We're good. We'll be all right.
Look, I buy that they have to be incompetent because no matter what, we have to set up for the sequels. My problem is consistently now in Star Wars, everybody's been incompetent. The New Republic, incompetent. The Jedi, incompetent. And there's elements of it with like the Republic of being like, okay, you're being manipulated by a Sith Lord who's taking over and manipulating this entire war, or the Jedi who is falling on their morals and everything like that. There's a little bit of good storytelling there. This is not good. This is just, they're incompetent because we have to set up the sequels and they're all just idiots.
Well, I mean, I use the word incompetent just to go along with the way you're saying it. But again, you're misjudging naivete. You're misjudging them not understanding the severity of things as incompetence. And that's not necessarily incompetence. That's just them not understanding the severity of what's happening around them. So it's not, incompetence is a little rough for all of them, because there were some that, like Leia continued with, we got to be careful what's going on, things aren't good, and there was other ones too. It's just the ones we've seen on her. And Mon Mothma is not incompetent. She's just trying to keep all these factions, all these things together, and trying to balance what she knows is a very fragile republic.
That's what I'm saying. It's very fresh.
Yeah.
And only you even you said that, like, that is it Xeon Goldman? Xiono. Even you said that he kind of has some sort of reason to think Hera is crazy.
I said that.
Right? Only. Sorry.
Yes.
So, we say incompetence, but there's also some kind of truth to how he perceives things, which is like, you're not bringing me any evidence, and then of course we got the what about Moff Gideon with the events on Mandalore, which is a nice confirmation that this show takes place after season 3 of Mando. So I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily incompetence, but more so no one really knows anything yet that is concrete evidence.
Yeah, but if you have these good guys, I want to be able to root for somebody. And if everyone's an idiot except for Thrawn, it's
Mon Mothma, Leia.
How is she doing? First of all, she doesn't do her job because everything ends up failing in the end, no matter what. And second of all, her just walking up to Hera and being like, "How serious?"
That's your problem.
Threat?
You're still jaded. You're still jaded about the sequels. So no matter what they do,
the fact that it had to lead up to the sequels. That you made that point that it has to lead up to the sequels.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't like that everything is constantly, in my opinion, incompetence, where all these people are just oblivious to everything that could, and then when it happens, it's too late. They just it's not. Well, it's not.
They're not oblivious. They mentioned Moff Gideon, and they see it, and we've seen this a lot in our politics when things were going on in the text. A lot of them see it as just a small faction. They're not a threat. They're just a small faction that we, as you saw, we easily took care of. Okay, that we didn't have to even do anything. A Mandalorian and a couple of his friends did it. So they didn't see it as a major threat. They didn't see it as an organized thing. They just saw him as this small warlord, who did something. It's like how the U.S. looks at some of these skirmishes that happen in other countries. They were like, small warlord. It's not gonna affect us or the safety of the world.
I want to explain a problem I had with it. That didn't really have to do with the New Republic incompetence, and more so that this is kind of, at least it appears for now, the resolution to Hera's getting, what's the term, court-martialed arc, if you will. It's like for a few episodes now, they've set up that if Hera is going to do these things, there's going to be consequences, right? In the 3rd episode or the 4th episode, one of the officers was like, "Hera, if you leave, you can't do this." She's like, "Oh, that's fine. I can do what I want. I'm a general." And then she shows up in the 4th episode, and then the other New Republic ships come, and they're like, that was the 5th episode, sorry. And they're like, let us down to the planet, and Hera's like, "No, hold them, stop." And now she's kind of facing the consequences for that. But the resolution is just a makeshift call from Leia, like, "Oh, I secretly did sanction the mission, and it's all okay." It just, they set up these things, right? There's tension there. Like, what's going to happen to Hera? Is she going to get court-martialed? It's a small thing, but it's still been set up. And the resolution is just unsatisfying. And now there's no consequences for Hera, as it seems. And I just thought there was something they could have done there that would have been interesting. And they chose not to do that. And that was a missed opportunity. They didn't.
What they did is, because again, sequels, right? We got Leia
nothing to do with
was a powerful. Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Leia is a powerful force in the galaxy from the end of the Galactic Civil War up until the sequels. Okay, and she was a mover and she was a shaker. And what they're showing here is how even at this stage, how she had a lot of power. We found out she was, whatever, head of the Security Council, whatever they call the Defense Council, and stuff like that. So what they're doing is they're showing the power that Leia wields.
There are other ways to do that.
In ways, she's more powerful than Mon Mothma, who's the Chancellor.
There are other ways to do that than just resolve Hera's consequences. Like, Hera can do whatever she wants. Like, I get your point. I think it is wise to show the influence Leia has. So if they ever do want to tie into the Resistance, they can show why there's this whole mini military faction devoted to her, essentially. So I get that. I just feel there's a better way to do that.
Literally what this is.
Okay, yes, but there's better ways.
The beginning of that.
There are better ways to do it than to just completely drop a potentially interesting plot point.
Yeah, the story would have been far more interesting if she had been court-martialed and we had to deal with the consequences of that. Leia,
There's only 2 episodes though.
but still, it's something they built up over the series. It's clearly a plot point that they wanted to address, and for it to have the payoff of 3PO just coming in at the last possible second, be like, "Oh wait, oh no, actually, it's."
So then we can hear the complaints. Oh, it became the Hera show. It became the Hera show. That's all we're talking about is Hera. That's what would have happened.
Already the Sabine show.
Oh, right? Come on, man. Now that's too far, man. Come on.
No, how is that too far? It's literally the Sabine show. She's the highlight of this story.
That's the thing I had the biggest problem with is that section. Is Sabine and Ezra. That's my biggest issue with this.
Really? Yeah, I've seen some takes on it online.
Do we have any final thoughts on like the Hera and New Republic section?
Okay. I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Something that I kind of got confused by is it's not even Leia, okayed this mission. Hera says, not yet, but she's going to. So in reality, she didn't actually accept the mission and say it was good. What was that about?
She lied. What she was saying is that she did it even with the lie she did. She retroactively sanctioned it.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying. That between us, she retroactively sanctioned.
Yeah,
as far as everyone else
she's
knows,
going to.
It was already,
so they're kind of like, well, so something. I doubt it, but something still could happen.
Well, not
from
going
that,
to. They're just saying that she did, and it's just they didn't know because remember they threw that little dig that he made the decision. Zulima made a decision without talking to her.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with
council.
I agree with Goldman that okay, there is probably a better way of showing that power that Leia has, but I think we will get more cases of that, especially in Dave Filoni's movie. So I'm not too worried about that. I enjoyed the scene more than you guys, but yeah, that's okay.
Well, again, I didn't hate it. I didn't enjoy it as much as you do, but I thought it was fine. I'm not upset with how it ended.
I like the pacing of it too, I will say. I'm glad they didn't stretch this out for 15 minutes. I think it was paced well, it got the purpose done, it tied up that thread, and we move on to this new planet and everything.
And let's be fair, a lot of people don't like that much deepfakes, and that's how they got Leia in there.
Especially for actors that are not alive anymore. I find I know a lot of even if they get permission from, say, Billy Lord, Carrie Fisher's daughter, even then I'm kind of, I think in episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, they did it great, where they just had Billy play the part and stuff, and they used old footage that's already been recorded and put it on there.
And I really think, I know a lot of people are saying they're probably okay. Some people will be pissed, but I think people, listen, just recast. You recast Han Solo, right? Just have Billy Lord play fucking Leia. It's fine.
She looks like Carrie. I mean, she's got that look.
Have Sebastian Stan be Luke. We'll be fine.
They made their bed. They have to lay in it. They changed.
I really don't think we need to see a Leia anytime soon, or for almost any reason. Even in this episode, like Leia being brought in to save Hera, I felt like it would have been fun without that situation going on. But anyways, you guys want to move on to like the new part of the galaxy and the universe that we're exploring. This part, it's a little discombobulated for me. I'm gonna be honest. I normally watch these episodes 2 times. One Tuesday night when it comes out, and then one normally like an hour or 2 before we start the show. I didn't really feel like the need to rewatch this episode so much. So I'm not really I'm gonna say I don't remember everything that happens because I didn't find a lot of it engaging, and mainly the stuff with Ezra and Sabine being chased by the bandits and whatnot. But Ezra was a big talking figure for this episode. People were talking about him not using the lightsaber that he gave Sabine and using the Force and all that. What did you guys think about his return and this episode really kind of highlighting him?
All right. So the lightsaber thing didn't bother me so much. They threw a little memorabilia in there. The Force is my ally, right? I mean, we know where that came from. And that was fine. I thought it was going to be some crazy Force wielding, right? Not just Force push after Force push after Force push, because that's all I did was Force push after Force push after Force push. That's like the basic thing that Padawans learn to do is a Force push. That's not even a big deal. It's like, did he advance at all? My Force is my ally. You're talking like Yoda. Did you get in the last 10 years? Did you get any better?
Goldman, I know you're a fan of Rebels. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Is Ezra like a Jedi Knight? Was he like knighted, completed his training, or is he still like a Padawan? Like, what's his situation?
He doesn't have an official title, I guess. It's like Kanan got kind of knighted, but I mean,
he's been there 10 years to do nothing but meditate. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
It gets better.
Regardless of whether he's been knighted or not, he did some pretty badass things in Rebels with just the Force. Like there was one
That's
thing.
true.
Granted, he was tying into the dark side more. Hold on a second, Lunga. Where he was like, he in the beginning of season 3 of Rebels, he used the Force to like force a AT-AT or ATST to like walk off a cliff. That was some pretty powerful Force shit. Granted, a little bit more on the dark side. So Ezra is certainly capable of doing more powerful things, assuming he's been active in the past 10 years.
Okay.
Even fuck Rebels. Okay, I don't care what he could do or couldn't do in Rebels. Okay, we know he could use the Force. Okay, that's the basis of it. Just understand one thing in the context of not even the series, this episode. If this man said, just Drake, nah, I don't need the lightsaber. I'm that good with the Force. Force is my ally. I don't need a lightsaber. I can fight this bitch. She has a lightsaber. I don't care. I got the Force. And then she does it back to him and knocks him out. So don't 10 years and you didn't connect with the Force, meditate the Force. You couldn't figure out.
Could Force push him in these 10 years, so he didn't know how to block a Force push.
Again, the man said, I don't need a lightsaber. I am that good with the Force. I don't need a lightsaber. Okay? That is setting me up for some fantastic shit. Did not happen. Okay?
No,
but even
right,
that
but
isn't.
They're scared to develop Force powers. No one wants to do anything new or interesting. All we know is Force lightning.
It's like they just didn't do it, right? They probably didn't want to do some cool tricks, spend some time, whatever, when you can do some simple Force tricks. Don't say they don't.
He's gonna start throwing the Nodi are in these little like freaking nuke chambers, man. They're like into these little bunkers that are like indestructible. He could start throwing those things all over the place. It could have been like the scene in the prequels with you throwing the council seats at and shit. Could have did that with the fucking
like Obi-Wan in the Kenobi show where he just picks up the boulders and just
chucks them at.
That is not an expensive effect, okay?
No, I don't think it has anything to do with that.
For this episode, all the budget went into Ahsoka's dive off the ship. You see the way she rolled? Looked like horrible CGI.
Like 1 second.
Listen, how many times have we seen them jump out of a ship? Okay, she could have jumped, just force jumped and landed down. She did not need to do this whole slide. Didn't we see that in the prequels? I mean,
yeah, they did it in Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan jumped out of his ship, and that looks way better. I'll give him that.
And it was about the same distance. It wasn't,
Yeah,
well, the ship was moving at a pretty fast speed, so there's some force there. But
how does a slide help you?
I want to talk about Ezra. I understand your guys' complaints. I don't care. I thought it was badass. I thought it was cool. This guy's been living with these freaking peaceful frogs for 10 years, okay? I don't expect him to be training like freaking Yoda with the Force, okay? That's just me. Do I understand your complaints with it? Yeah, I thought him still pushing stormtroopers way out of the way, being able to defend himself against Shin and just basically take her on without any weapon was great. It was great to see him as a Jedi kind of evolve from that.
He didn't take her out with any weapon. He got knocked the fuck out. She knocked him the fuck out.
Hold on. He lasted like 10 seconds. All right. Let me continue. I also think there is another element to this in the sense that he now knows that Sabina's being trained by Ahsoka, so he wants her to keep that lightsaber. He's like, this is yours. This is what you need to use. I think there's more layers to it than just, oh, I'm so powerful with the Force, I don't need a lightsaber. That's part of it, but it's also
the Force is my ally. I don't need it. That's exactly what he said.
There's more to it when it comes to Sabine.
There's such an obvious answer here. He could just be like, listen, I haven't used a lightsaber in a decade. You have. You use it.
Don't talk to me about obvious episodes. Obvious things when you can't understand Baylan.
It is very obvious. Talk about that later. But that is very obvious. Listen, I
really
haven't used a lightsaber in a decade. You use it. There. Like, what are you gonna say? No.
Goldman, are
but my other issue
with his return?
Yeah, I'm satisfied with Ezra's return as a whole. It's like the Force thing didn't bother me. Yeah, I agree with Lunga somewhat. It's like you set him up to say, "Oh, the Force is my ally," and does like goofy things. The moment where he blocked the lightsaber was kind of cool. That was a minor thing for me. I didn't. Not seeing Ezra do all the super powerful shit was not something I needed to see. It's like, okay,
I agree.
One line is set up and it wasn't paid off. Fine. So no, like I agree, but it wasn't a big deal to me.
Honestly, like
I'm not saying.
Go ahead, Longo.
I'm not saying he has to be Force Unleashed crazy powers. That's not what I'm saying. You know, it's just
It would have been nice to see something cooler. I agree.
something a little bit more than a Force push.
I'm with you guys.
Okay.
I wish we would have seen him do a little bit more to make him to show that he truly has evolved. My big issue with him, and it's sad because I think the actor is great. I didn't mind Ezra at all in this episode. It's nice to see him in live action. I really wish we would have some conversation with him and Sabine though, because the entire little trip that they had and it like the teasing of the dialogue, like it
So
wasn't
frustrating.
it wasn't engaging at all, and it was kind of just frustrating to watch because you're just like, look, we know where this is going to go. We have to get to this at some point. So now we know we're not doing it in this episode, so it has to be in the next episode, and it's delaying like such a pivotal part of what we're expecting in the show. Of like, it's just a conversation. It's actual dialogue. I want to hear her tell Ezra, look, I came here to get with the people who came to get Thrawn, and that is our only way home. And I know they have Ahsoka and everything, but even when Ahsoka and Sabine reunite, they don't talk about Sabine teaming up with Baylan and Shin. They don't talk about anything like it. That's kind of my fundamental problem with this episode is there's moments that are like, oh, this is cool. This is not, it's nice. This is nice. This is nice. But none of it is like good. And none of it is really satisfying at all. And mainly with these big character plot points of Ahsoka and Sabine, that betrayal, and then Sabine having to tell Ezra how she got there. And it would have been more interesting if it was just Sabine and Ezra than it would be if all three of them have the conversation at once, you know? So I'm really perplexed on what is going to happen with these character payoffs.
That whole conversation was so frustrating for me. That whole conversation was so frustrating to me because it's like they already did that last episode, right? Where she was avoiding telling him, okay? And then this episode, he's literally asking questions. So we're going to go home, right? Oh, it's complicated. Oh, we're going to, and he's like, okay, yeah, it's his friend you haven't seen, but he's just accepting her non-committal answers to everything like it's no big deal. Just not at all. It doesn't push at all to at least, come on, tell me something. Nothing. And again, they're going to, so now it's next year. But the biggest problem with that, other than that specific thing that they're stretching this out way too long, is why are we hearing nothing? If you're going to tell me they came to this galaxy, he got away from Thrawn, and for the last 10 years, all he's been doing is force pushing and chilling with turtles, and that's it, and nothing else happened to him. Nothing else. This 10 years didn't affect him in any way, shape, or form. I know I had some crazy theories about him turning some dark side, this and that, blah, blah, which didn't happen, and it's fine. Theories are fun for that reason. It doesn't need to happen. It doesn't need to be all that crazy stuff. But I need to hear, why is there no questions for him? Like, if she's trying to avoid, if you're going to do that, she's like, you know what? We'll get to that. What happened to you? What happened here? Tell me. Why didn't that conversation happen? Why don't we hear any of that?
We don't know what happened. We still do not know what
still don't know.
Thrawn and
the
Ezra
reason why I think we don't know is because nothing happened.
Well, no,
chilling
because
with turtles for
they're
10
going to
years.
make it into a book, and you're going to have to buy the book and read the book to understand. Come on, man.
Oh,
Hey,
chilling with turtles for 10 years.
You guys love the Thrawn books. I don't know. They'll make another one, and Ezra will be another character in there. So,
yeah,
no, I agree with that.
Those are actually interesting stories, and they never get addressed. Like the Grisk and all that stuff is so interesting, not even remotely hinted at in this series so far. So
I will say
if they covered that stuff in a book, I don't think it would be good, but they would never address it in like live action, which is where you actually want to see some payoff.
Yeah, a big frustration I've had is they keep bringing up more questions. Baylan, Shin, what is he doing? Thrawn, Ezra, how did he get there? And this is something I find Filoni to have an issue with, is he keeps bringing up these questions, which makes for really fun conversation like we have now, where we're, we can theorize, we can come up with all sorts of ideas. But whenever we only have one more episode left and you have so many doors open, I'm not the biggest fan of that way of writing. Unless this episode is an hour and 25 minutes, which it's not gonna be. Come on. The longest season finale, I think, was Boba Fett, and I think that was right at an hour. There's not these threads, these doors aren't going to be, we're not going to get answers. And I'm frustrated by that.
Unfortunately, that was the Marvel way of doing things with their series too. They did the same thing. They kept doing all this stuff, and he tried to wrap it all up in one episode at the finale.
There's going to be a cliffhanger. I don't know if we're going to have a segment where we talk about predictions for episode 8. But I'll get to that whenever we get there.
I want to express my biggest frustration, and again, this could be resolved in this next episode. And it's they're somewhat appearing to drop the plot point that Sabine betrayed Ahsoka. Like, I get Ahsoka had this arc, and she forgave her past with Anakin and whatnot, and she reunites with Sabine after Sabine's betrayal. Like, and in the 4th episode, they put such an emphasis on Ahsoka saying, "Can I trust you? Like, can I count on you?" And Sabine proved her wrong. And I get Ahsoka had this arc, but I just think it's uninteresting if they just drop it completely. And especially with Ezra's reaction, I guess they're pushing it off. Sabine made a selfish decision, and Ezra needs to know that. And there needs to be serious consequences for Sabine, not just the galaxy, for Sabine specifically. So they could easily do that next episode. And my complaints will be null void. I hope they do not drop it.
Doubtful, though. I mean, we're pretty doubtful, aren't we? There's a lot they need to answer. I mean,
I don't think there's that much.
There's so many things that need to be covered.
No, there's
okay. Well, first of all, Thrawn and everybody need to go back to the galaxy.
That can happen really
Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra theoretically need to go back to the galaxy. Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra have to have different. Sabine has to have a conversation with both of these people in terms of character arcs and stories. Then we have Baylan and Shin. We have to have some kind of resolution with Shin. Is she alive? Does she die? Who kills her? What happens to her?
No, she ran back. Baylan. Her arc, I think, is done. Honestly, her arc, because she didn't have much of an arc to begin with, okay? Because her arc is just starting. And I think hers is supposed to continue. So I'm okay with that, with hers.
Listen,
but if it ends like that, it's a little odd. Like her just running off.
I disagree. It's like, there's not much. So the episode's going to begin with a timer, right? Thrawn's going to leave. And if we don't get there, we're going to be stranded here, right? That's the assumption. That's what they set up here. Thrawn said we have time on our side. It's like, there's not much you need to set up with Thrawn, right? If he just jumps to hyperspace and goes back, like there's the setup. You can have a short scene of him attacking the New Republic, and the impact is felt. In terms of like conversations between Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka, like they don't need to be long conversations. They just need to address the concerns that we have. That can be 3 to 5 minutes, not much. And then Baylan stuff, you're right. That could be like 5 to 10 minutes. There's not that much they need to wrap up. They can do it efficiently.
We don't know what he's looking for. It's supposed to be world changing, galaxy changing, universe changing. From the way he's describing it, right? I'm not talking about our headcanon and our theories, just from the way he's describing it. It's supposed to be something big, okay? And it almost feels like that deserves half an episode. Okay, we got an entire episode of Ahsoka in the World Between Worlds, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying Baylan needs an entire episode for that, but that's almost half an episode for whatever this is going on with him. And we're not going to get that. It's going to feel like a dud. Unfortunately, that's what I think. Unless again, I mean, if we have this big Filoni plans for the next season and for the movie that's coming, this could all be leading towards it. So we're not going to get everything told right now. And if they cliffhanger it like that, that's fine. But if they leave threads just like loose for no reason, like the stormtroopers, like we were all speculating, with the red straps and the mask, and I know I was kind of falling into the whole zombie thing, which again, theories are fun. If it didn't happen, it didn't happen. I'm not upset about that. I'm not saying that it has to be that, but it's like we got all these cool visuals and all these cool things, and I don't really think, other than hey, doesn't this look cool, is all we're gonna get from that. That's all it's gonna be.
I want to say this is really reminding me of kind of The Force Awakens in a sense, where there's so many things being added, so many questions being asked, the whole J.J. Abrams mystery box sort of cliche. And I don't know if that's the greatest thing. I agree, Goldman. You make good points. They could spend relatively short amount of time to get things, cleared up and all that. But they've been building this thing up with Baylan for the entire series. And if it comes down to just something, do they even know what it's going to be? Are we even going to get some sort of answer? Because he won't even tell his apprentice what it is.
And that's what I'm saying. If we don't get an answer from it, that's where it would become.
It'll be very, very frustrating for me.
Yeah, let's just say they just kill, like Shin kills Baylan or Ahsoka or Ezra, Sabine. Someone kills him in the next episode, and we have no idea what.
No,
I don't think they don't care about Baylan. They need to get to the. They need to stop Thrawn from leaving the galaxy, or B. They need to get on that ship so they can also not be stuck in this current galaxy.
Which was another scene that bothered me.
Yes.
To piggyback off what you just said, he confronts Ahsoka. Ahsoka jumps out. Well, she happens to jump down right where he's at. Okay, she jumps out, does that stupid slide thing, lands like in front of him. And
that's convenient.
He's like, he's like, oh, we're gonna have the little, kind of like her and Elsbeth in Mandalorian. We're gonna have this little showdown, right? Because we need a lightsaber duel, right, with them. And well, I need to stop you because you're in my way. And she's like, am I? And he's like, yes. And then we fight. And then she's like, no, I'm not. And he's like, yeah, you're not. So why did we have this fight when he's not having anything to do with Thrawn? Obviously, which we were right about, and everyone could tell that what was going on with Thrawn and everything did not interest him. Is whatever was on his planet, what he was looking for is all he cared about.
Well, we've known that,
Shin,
yeah.
Shit, that was to answer Goldman's question. He says it still doesn't make sense. They were on different paths. He didn't have to explain anything to her. Didn't want to explain anything to her because her path is her path, and this is kind of a real Jedi thing, right? This is your path. I'm not going to detract you or take you away from it. This is what you're doing. I have mine. So I'm not going to muddy the waters with going into this. I'm just teaching you the skills you need to do what you want to do in your path. That's what all he was teaching her is the skills she needs to go down her path.
I don't like that.
That's all he was
I don't
doing.
like that.
I thought that was okay. That was satisfactory for me. But again, it's like if he's done and they make such a big deal about it, right? Even Thrawn's like, "Where's Baylan? He's obviously not helping us. He's gone off on his own. He's insinuated and alluded to this the entire series, right? That what's going on here doesn't matter to him. He has his own thing. Then why did we have this whole "you're in my way" and she's obviously not? And then it ends. She's
obviously not. Cool action sequence.
And then he nods.
Because
Yeah,
at
she's
the
not.
end, Lunga, she says like, he's like, you can't beat me, and she's like,
I don't have to.
So maybe she learns that she can't beat him, and there's other forms of fighting than with lightsabers.
I think it's
Yeah, but
important.
it's not about her.
It's
Why
important.
did he choose to fight her? Why did he choose to fight her? She wasn't in his way.
No.
She
Yeah, and
wasn't
he
there to stop
realized,
him.
he realized that, and she left, and he moved on.
He knew that already.
He had to let off some
Did he?
steam, bro. Don't you want to fight every now and then?
This is the same guy who didn't even want to fight her in that one in episode. What was it? 4, 3, whatever.
Yeah,
what
he
was it?
ignited his saber first in this episode too. That's huge difference.
That's a big change. Which
Well,
again,
maybe
maybe
he got
it's
to know
explained
that she's
later, but
alive.
I don't think so.
He doesn't know what she's up to. Like, sure, she's there to find Ezra afterwards, but it's like,
Yeah, what if he walks away and she starts running after him? Full sprint.
not so much that, but like,
this is a good one. What if the fight is to buy his apprentice time?
I guess he doesn't care about
None
it.
of
You got to
buy
pay
that.
attention
I don't
to
know.
the dialogue they had. I know you guys thought it was trash, but it wasn't. The dialogue that he was like, she has dreams of empire. Okay, she wants to be that kind of Sithy Lord, Darth Vader-ish, Palpatine, Empire resurgence, Sith power. That's what she wants. He doesn't. Okay, and he tells her your dreams of empire. This is what she wants. So
Can I just the problem with that? He never told her what this big power was. He's been keeping it from her this entire time. So how is
has
she
nothing
to know?
to do with them.
It's
Because what he's
unnecessary.
trying to do is counter to what she wants. He says he wants to go back to the
She
beginning
wants the
and
only thing
end
she can
this
see, which is
cycle.
the Empire. She doesn't know what
She wants to
Baylan's
be
going for.
She wants to be part of the cycle. He wants to end the cycle. That's there.
What does that mean?
Sides.
What am I going to get out of it? He doesn't tell her. Only he knows. Yeah, no doubt she's going to be looking at Thrawn and be
Follow
like,
your
this
path,
guy's got a
follow
lot of
mine.
resources.
Our paths diverge. You want something different than I do. You want a continuation of what's existing. I don't. I don't know why that's so hard to grasp.
Because she doesn't know what he wants. So she has no idea what the other side might look like.
Wait, hold on. Let me explain my thoughts.
He's not.
Your
trying to
your
convince
reason
her.
for him not telling Shin is because he doesn't have to, and I find that to be a very poor narrative reason. He has no reason to tell her, but he has no reason not to tell her. It's like she's your apprentice. He's being intentionally vague because the viewers are watching. That's why Dave Filoni wants this to be vague, so there's a mystery for us until the final episode. I just don't find there to be a valid reason for him to not tell Shin, other than he doesn't have to. Like, sure,
It's almost
he
as if he
has
doesn't give her
different
the
goals.
option in the first place,
She has different goals, sure. Okay, fine. These are your goals, and these are mine. I want to do this, and there's just no reason for him to be continuously ambiguous throughout the whole series.
I
Because
agree
him
with your
telling her that
explanation
is
with
like
that.
trying to convince her of something different, and
No,
that's not what he's trying
No,
to do.
no. Just let her know what this option could be. That would have
But
been
again,
a great
why?
scene.
I
Because
still need to- you're
as a
saying
viewer,
I say I don't
it's
have to,
not
and you're
effective.
saying that's bad narrative. I'm saying why are we adding more narrative if it's not necessary? Why does he have to tell her?
It is
Explain
necessary
Other
because it's been
than,
built
other
up the
than
entire
I want to know, why does he have to tell her?
It's exactly like
because
the Holdo and Poe thing.
it's his whole meaning of in the show at this moment is what is he building up to, and if we're going under the assumption because we have one episode left, we have no idea what he wants. But he's been talking about it all series. If he doesn't tell her, and then we don't know at the end of the series, that's horrible. Like that.
Once again, all you told me is you want him to tell her because we, the viewers, want to know. Narratively,
no, because
narratively, you have not given me a reason why she needs to know.
I gave you one because he's basically
him to tell her.
Go ahead, Goldman.
It reminds me. I've mentioned this before. It reminds me of the Poe and Holdo thing. Why didn't Holdo tell Poe the plan? We never got
the same team.
What do you mean?
Poe, they were on the same team. Baylan, he explained that their paths are diverging. Poe and Holdo were not going off on separate things.
Holdo has a better reason not to tell Poe than Baylan does to Shin.
You're comparing military chain of command to a loose master apprentice thing that's not like the Jedi's where she's beholden to him. It's two completely different scenarios.
They have a closer relationship than Poe and Holdo did. Yes, it does.
Doesn't matter. No, it doesn't.
Yes, it's just it's jarring that he's just being ambiguous to her because he doesn't have to be.
You are comparing a military chain of command, which was a sticking point of what was going on with the characters and the plot. Mm-hmm. That he was a rogue, he wanted to do what he wanted to do, and she was his superior officer. Okay, that is a completely different scenario than what happened here. He's a teacher. He's not. She calls him master.
He's an authority figure.
A teacher. He hasn't acted. The one thing he has not acted like is an authority figure to her. Think about it. He does not make her do things. He does not. No. In the first
episode, he told her go find Sabine Wren and kill her.
Yeah, no, she does whatever he says.
She does what she says, but he's not controlling of her. If she said no, he's not going to make her do it. He's not going to pull rank on her.
Yeah, no. He did whenever Ahsoka was there. He told Shin, get Ahsoka to, and all that stuff, save the device or whatever. And he was getting kind of frustrated with it. And then when Ahsoka takes her out,
because it was interfering with his plans. It was interfering with his plans. If she did what she was doing, it would have interfered with his plans. As long as it doesn't interfere with his goal is, he lets her do what she's going to do. And he finalized that in this, you're free. Do what you're going to do. Because he knew, and I could just tell this from the narrative, he knew that she was strong-willed and she was going to do what she was going to do. And if we talk about the problems with the Jedi and the problems he had with the Jedi was this strict rigidity and stuff. He most likely one of those that didn't like that strict rigidity that they had of stuff. And he was letting her make her own decision and he wasn't going to do anything to interfere with that.
You cannot say she made her own decision when she only knew one option. She was not told what the other decision could have been. That would have been a great scene between the two characters, is them talking, well, what's actually going on? And Baylan explains, not only do us, the audience, get information on what this whole buildup has been about for the characters of Baylan, but Shin also knows, and now she can make her decision. Well, actually, I kind of want to do this thing with Thrawn. She doesn't know, so what's this sending her away without saying, hey, you can go here or you can go here?
This is the problem I have with this kind of discussion, because we're keeping talking about how I think this would be a better scene. Sure, it could have been. That's not the issue here, though. What we're saying is you want to reject the scene you were given and replace it with your own, okay? Because you didn't like this one as much. I'm talking about what Palpa Memes was saying.
I agree with him. It's not that we don't dislike the scene that we were given.
But none of that
we were given is awkward. Because he doesn't have a good reason.
Narratively, again, you're telling me as a viewer, this is the scene I would like to see. But you're still not telling me in that universe why that character needed to know. Other than I would have liked her to have a choice.
No, why? I can tell you because she's his apprentice and she's been along this journey this entire time. She's been doing work with him for this. And she asks about this. Is this finally our time for this? And she never knows or even learns what this journey could actually come to. And so when he's like, well, it's clear you want to go over here. She should have been like, well, what's the other option? Because I don't know yet. That's the problem.
She's hard-headed and young.
So why?
Anakin Skywalker never wanted to hear another choice. Anakin Skywalker wanted to do what he wanted to do.
It doesn't matter whether she's hard-headed or not. She only knows one way.
Yoda told Luke, don't go. And he did what he was going to do. Baylan spat in the face of all that and just said, "Go, do it."
Lunga, I think
I don't
the big
understand.
issue is
No,
hang on. I think the big issue is when you have an apprentice in Star Wars, anything like the Sith and the Jedi, you are under the assumption they have the same common goal. Darth Sidious, Darth Maul, they both want to take down the Jedi Order. Darth
Yeah,
Sidious,
I remember.
Count Dooku
Let's just keep remembering.
No, here we go. But still, it's a precedent that we have set that the apprentice has the same goals as the master. So what Goldman and Palpatine's are saying is that it makes no sense that she doesn't even know what her master's goal is, and yet she's been working with him to achieve that goal this entire time. She's not there for the Empire. She's there for.
So
Baylan.
your reason is they're not following the template of what every master and apprentice should be.
It has nothing to do with that.
can I give an even simpler
it's the
explanation?
assumption that they would be. She would sign up. He would come to her and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna teach you the ways. Here's what I'm gonna do with my life," and she would be like, "Oh, I want to do the same thing." But her to not know what he wants and his goal in general, it's kind of like, oh, how the fuck does she not know? Like, what have you been doing all this time?
I still keep hearing what I would have liked to see rather than why this character needs to know.
Okay, a master and apprentice, we assume they're people who are close to each other, right? Whether they're friends, whether they don't like each other, they're still close. They still talk to each other. Human beings, especially when they're friends, they tell each other things, especially when they're super close. If Star Wars only disappeared, right? He stopped doing YouTube forever, and he didn't tell us. That'd feel a little odd. But if he's like, "Oh, I'm not doing Chatooine anymore because this happened," that makes sense. He tells us things because we're his friends. Baylan and Shin are close people. It makes no sense why he's not just telling her, "Oh,
I have not seen any closeness between them other than I'm teaching
master and an apprentice."
Again, you're thinking of Jedi master and apprentices. They're not Jedi.
Any sort of teacher and
They were
student.
former Jedi.
Really? Because Palpatine and Vader were so fucking close. They hated each other. What are you talking about?
Palpatine
It was a very
manipulated
emotional
Anakin.
relationship.
Vader hated him. Everything we've seen about Vader throughout everything in the comics, everything. No, they hated him.
Vader had conversations. Oh, I hear this new Luke Skywalker is the son of Anakin Skywalker. He must not become a Jedi.
He literally kept him. You're talking about as a kid. Once they became Sith, once Anakin turned. Yes. We're talking about when he turned. Once he turned, and it was literally either Palpatine was too powerful for him to stop, or he hung on because he thought he'd get the secret to save life and would bring Padme back. He literally stayed on for that, and he loathed him. He hated him the entire time. Right. Palpatine looked about nothing about the moment he got too weak was going to replace him. There was not a closeness there. And then everything about the Sith is not about a closeness.
Palpatine still talked to Vader. He's like, Luke, there's a Luke Skywalker out there. He's the son of Anakin. We must stop him.
Vader,
well, in Return of the Jedi, Palpatine told Vader the plan that we're going to lure the rebels in, and another part of the fleet is waiting for us. He told Vader
and the whole thing about saving Padme was a lie. What? I mean, what?
Okay, he still tells them things. They still
He tells them lies.
not once he's
he tells him. Thank you for proving my point. He told him the things he needed to know, not the things he didn't need to know.
I don't think we need to compare this to Palpatine and Vader. This show has clearly showed that Shin and Baylan were close. Like, I got father figure vibes from that. Whenever Baylan is fighting Ahsoka, he's toying with her the whole time. The moment Ahsoka throws Shin up against the rock, Baylan gets pissed and he kills her, quote unquote, right? These aren't just a standard, they're a master and apprentice. No, they're close to each other, and that's shown through the show. But again, Lunga, you keep bringing up the whole, you're wanting what you as a viewer wanted.
No, this is when you could tell none of you are parents. This is when I could tell none of you are parents, and I'm a father. And I'm telling you, one of the biggest thing is letting them spread their wings, is letting go.
But here's the problem, Lunga. You have two options: option A, option B. Here. I'm Shin's mom or whatever. Hey, I can send you to this college. Okay, where's this college at? I'm not going to tell you. What's the major studies in? I'm not going to tell you. Well, okay. Well, I guess you don't want to go to this one. You just go to the option B then. That doesn't make sense.
No, because you want it to be so much a legit father-daughter kind of relationship.
No, it's that's what we were shown, is that they care about each other.
It does not mean that he literally treats her like a daughter. Okay, because
even without that, it still doesn't make sense that he was not telling her what his end goal was.
Okay, we're going
Once
in
again,
circles.
we got a
It really
mixture.
doesn't matter that long in the long haul. I mean, first of all, one of these two are going to die in the next episode, anyways.
Probably.
And look, regardless, if we don't have a payoff on what Baylan is looking for, this will all be a horrible way to do it.
It's
I
gonna
wish
be
people
amazing.
had the same energy about Luke Skywalker in the sequels. I wish the sequel lovers had the same energy about Luke Skywalker. Okay, because this is why it annoys me. I have a legitimate reason here, and everyone's like, "No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense." But everything Luke did, it made sense. That was cool. That's fine. Yeah, that's okay. Get the fuck out of here. That's some crazy shit.
Not even remotely the same comparisons, but
Not
okay.
even remotely the same. But
Not even
Poe and
close.
Holdo is.
Yeah, it is.
on.
Because
Oh, no.
one person is keeping information from another person for a stupid reason.
So an actual Jedi
yeah,
and his apprentice coming up, Rey,
who he cares
is not
about.
the same thing as another Force master and apprentice, but Holdo and Poe is.
What information? What information did Luke keep from Rey?
He told her nothing. What do you mean?
He kept her being a Palpatine away from her.
Okay, that's okay. Screw
He
Rise.
told her
Rise of
nothing.
Skywalker.
Here,
Rise
move
of
these
Skywalker.
rocks.
Still
Move
can.
these
It's still
rocks.
in the- it's
You're
still in the
going too
trilogy.
deep in the planet. Ah, that's
Okay, how about
We're
this?
going in
You're right,
circles
he-
about the dumbest side tangent.
Longo
in the
doesn't understand The
fucking
Last Jedi. We get it. He hasn't seen the movie in a long time. He doesn't remember.
Guys, we're getting nowhere with this.
We will debate The Last Jedi in due time.
Can
I
we- can
promise.
Let's change
I want
topic.
to get back to the
I'm
episode.
done. I'm done with
I wanna-
this.
I want to get down to like one last topic on the episode, and then I think we should do some predictions because next week is the last episode of the season. So Thrawn is in this episode. He brings in the Dathomir witches and everything for a little bit and everything. Do you guys think Thrawn was the highlight yet again?
Best part of the episode. Best part of the episode. Everything about him, perfect. I loved all his strategizing. Everything was perfect about the way he did it. I loved how, let's track her down like everyone's doing. They think it kill her. Oh no, she didn't die. No, he did it to flesh her out. It wasn't about killing her. It was about fleshing her out. It was about putting her in a compromising position. And then when they're down there, and Morgan's like, they're all united now. How does that help us? Oh, that was the plan. That was,
We've got time now.
It was great. Everything about him, the way he talked, the way he moved, the Anakin Skywalker thing when you guys mentioned, just from top to bottom, he was the best part of the entire episode, and they did him justice. And I was worried about that, but they did it perfect.
I agree. I think it was very well done, and I like how you said the way he strategized throughout the episode. It's cool to see him do a plan and it work out properly in just one episode of him, pushing all three of these characters together, and then immediately being like, oh yeah, I know we lost some men and everything, but she lost time and she could not afford that, and we're like 2/3 of the way done with our supply. So very well done with Thrawn. I am happy. I will say, I'm sorry, Lung. I'm happy that they were not space undead stormtroopers. I would have cried.
They were regular old stormtroopers who suck, as always.
And thank
Just
God
as-
for that.
Speaking
I
of
will say
incompetence, that's the canonical incompetence.
Did you guys see that part where like they have Shin and then they
Yep.
surround not Ahsoka, Sabine and Ezra, and they could have killed them and didn't. That was the only part in the episode where I was like, this is really stupid.
I'm thinking if you're going to have Ahsoka force push 8 stormtroopers, just have her force push all 20 of them. Because when you leave stormtroopers just pointing their guns at Sabine and Ezra, they're like,
they just
right,
had
it's like,
all
you already
the
got
time
told
in
to
the
fire on
world
them, just
to
do
pull
it.
the trigger.
And
there was
again,
nothing.
I know we came up with all these theories again that obviously we're wrong and they're crazy. It would have been cool, but it's not necessary.
well, it
But
doesn't.
listen,
Yeah.
From the look of them, you would 10 years. I'm expecting that. They had a hard life here. Okay,
Mhm.
You think they'd be the best of the best.
You think they're like the Lost Legion, the Roman Lost Legion, right? Like they went through some shit. Okay, and they're better than the average stormtroopers. Nope.
Well, they were fighting people who disguise themselves as rocks longer. That's traumatic for any man to go through.
Can we, sticking on the topic of Thrawn, do we think they're gonna expand on his goals more? Because they still really haven't done that. It's still, I want to resurrect the Empire.
I don't
Like,
think
why?
so because
Is that just
based
his
off
influence?
of
Is that
based
just
off
hanging?
what we've already covered in the series so far, everyone's had so many, and we talked about this before we went on the side tangent about, I don't even remember at this point. But the part about like there's so much to cover in this next episode. I think Thrawn's goals is the grander scheme of things, and I think that will be something played out in like, I don't even know if he would be in season 2, honestly, because I feel like they may save Thrawn for
100%.
But they need to have the big conflict with Thrawn in the Heir to the Empire movie, the Dave
It could be a
Filoni
long
movie.
conflict.
They will.
It could be,
They will.
but the darkness of it and everything. I don't know. I think he will. I think they're going to kind of reserve him a little bit to make it a big deal in the movie. But that's what we
What
have.
I
to
see-
go
I can
up
buy
to.
that.
What I see at the end is it's gonna, with his arc, it's gonna end with him arriving, and maybe a hint of whatever this payload is that he's bringing. Okay, not necessarily full blown, but maybe a hint of something, and it's gonna end with him. Now my plans begin, kind of deal. You know what I mean? And that's where it ends his arc. Okay, then if in season 2, which I believe he'll be in it, they were gonna show him his plans are expansive, and they're not just something you do in a day. Okay, I mean, it took 3 days to put the shit on the ship, so I mean it's going to take some time. So I think we're going to see in the second season his build up towards whatever his major plan is in the movie.
I like that.
And perhaps starting some incursions, doing some moves, doing some stuff. So I think that's what's going to happen. Hopefully, I've been wrong on a lot of things, but we'll see. But yeah, that's what I think is going to happen in his arc.
In the second season, I'd love to see like just a straight up military campaign from Thrawn. Like maybe not the entire war, but part of it, like the beginning. Like, oh, here's the New Republic. This is what they're up to. This is Ahsoka, what she's up to.
But
Here's
I
Thrawn,
just
like
feel
a
like
war is starting. I think that's interesting.
I feel like it would sound good too, but I feel like concern for the movie that it would really become the biggest example of you need to watch all this stuff before you watch this movie.
I mean,
Yeah, that's a big worry for me.
That's gonna happen. Like, sign up. What
Yeah.
is you expect him to do a standalone story? Like, no.
No, but it's clearly culminating into something. But with the assumption, because we went into Ahsoka, we were all like, "Look, you don't need to see Rebels and Clone Wars to understand this. Like, that should be how it's done." It was not the case at all.
They have put themselves, to play what Palpa memes discussed with how Disney has handled Disney Plus. They've put themselves in this position, and if they are gonna, if this movie's a big deal and people want to see it, they're gonna force people to get Disney Plus to see this shit. That's what they're doing, and in the streaming era we live in, this is something we have to accept.
The only reason I'm bringing this up, Goldman, is because I'm saying that if we're going under the assumption that we're going to see a lot of Thrawn in season 2, I feel like that's riskier to do, and it won't give the movie as much more attention. Do you think we should see like a lot of him in season 2? Because I feel like he'll be there, but I don't think he should be the main central point again. I don't know.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I agree with you, and like that is the Marvel issue. It's like you have to watch these shows to see these movies. The thing is with the MCU, it's like they've had a track record of 3 phases of movies where you just need to watch the movies, and that was it. And really, they even said you need to watch like certain movies to get the Avengers. Like you need to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp to get Infinity War. So, but if they market this movie and they're saying this is not just Thrawn, a Star Wars story, this is the culmination of what we've been building on Disney Plus. I think that's a little different than just spewing out Doctor Strange 2 and saying, "Oh, you need to watch this show about Wanda." Like it depends how they frame it. If they say this is the culmination of everything, then I think it's fair to say watch the shows.
Yeah, I think the problem is, the general audience won't care enough. They don't want to do homework, right? No one wants to do homework to understand a movie. And we can say general audience makes up the vast majority of ticket sales. And if they're watching this movie, or say they're watching the trailer and they're like, who the hell are these people? Yeah, that's going to cause problems, but that's so far in the future. I don't think it's worth.
But wait. Homework is a negative connotation. We're all agreeing that this series is pretty good, right? So
yes.
I mean, so why?
I'm saying that the general audience won't do their homework, therefore they won't care.
Sure.
Right.
But why are we assuming general movie audiences don't watch TV?
Exactly.
It's not that they don't. It's that it's a fraction of the overall ticket sales. Right, so we have 14 million. It's going to be more closer to 12 million viewers based on rewatches and stuff.
It's the numbers things, yeah. Of like
we have the numbers.
We know that the Mandalorian was the most popular thing that they've done. The Kenobi was really big. Too.
Kenobi had the biggest opening
view, yeah. But the Mandalorian
we
was
know
a
why
cultural
Kenobi.
phenomenon. Yes, but we don't have the same thing with Ahsoka. So I'm just saying that, like, look, if you did this exactly, if you did the movie immediately after like the first season or 2 of Mandalorian movie, no, you don't need a lot of stuff to watch. You just go right into it. I'm saying adding into Ahsoka and Book of Boba Fett and 3 seasons of The Mandalorian. And don't forget, you should also probably watch, Rebels and Clone Wars as well. That's where it becomes.
Yeah, you don't have to see Book of Boba Fett. You don't have to see
Okay.
Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
You
but
really don't.
I disagree with that notion that it's homework. It's like saying when The Force Awakens came out, oh, it's homework that we needed to watch the original 6 films. Like, it's just part of the story.
That's different. That's
That's
episode
vastly
7.
So
That's
it's,
way
no,
different.
it's a prior part of the story. It's like they are building this one story and they just want to culminate it with a movie. And you're saying
Right.
that so many people who
But-
are going to see this movie,
But there's a
haven't seen the
difference
show and
between
they're
There's a
movies
huge difference
and
I
because
disagree. I
The movies are
disagree
a
in that
huge
in
deal.
this movie compared to these
Yeah,
shows, I don't
but-
think there's a big difference.
No,
There's-
Goldman. I know what they're saying, but they're kind of making a false equivalency here, and I'll explain why. The general audience that are just like, "Hey, it's Friday night. What are we gonna do? Oh, let's pick a movie. Oh yeah, Star Wars movie. Let's go watch it." They're there. Those people are not looking for this deep story. They're not looking for what we're looking for. They're there to sit like a Fast and Furious movie, to sit there and eat popcorn, watch the ships, watch explosions. They don't give a shit. Don't you understand? Why do you think Fast and Furious makes the money it does? Because of the story? It has nothing to do with the story. Sucks. Family. That's it. Okay. Okay. Those general audience you're talking about that don't want to do homework. Those are the ones that just they just want to eat popcorn and watch explosions on a screen. So they're not going to care that they don't. I don't understand. What are these characters? Why are
That's
they
going to
here?
be a
What's
portion of
going
them.
on?
Absolutely.
That is not a general audience member. That is someone who's more invested in a Star Wars story. And the people who are invested in a Star Wars story are people that are going to watch this shit.
Palpamemes, of everyone who saw Infinity War in theaters, how many of them do you think saw every single MCU movie before that? Not many.
The Avengers movies were the main things you needed to watch
So you
to
think
see.
they
And
saw
Infinity War and the
Civil War?
Avengers movies were
Do you think
very
they
close in
saw
terms of
Thor
numbers.
Ragnarok? Did they see Captain Marvel? Did they see Ant-Man and the Wasp? Did they see every single Iron Man movie? Did they see Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2?
Let me.
But
You
if
don't.
that's really the route
You
want
also have to
Star Wars
remember,
go, that's a
billion-dollar
bad
movies. Billion-dollar movies come from people seeing it multiple times.
Yes.
That they love this movie so much. Okay, like the Infinity War, the Endgame one. The whole Cap thing. Avengers Assemble, and it's people and Tony Stark dying. People love that, and they had so much of a feeling from those scenes of the movie. That's why they went to go see it over and over again, because it drew an emotional response out of them. And we're talking about not even like the big Marvel fans, right? Just the ones to go see a movie here and there. They thought this was so cool, not even knowing the stuff, because it was so good what happened in that movie. And that's what makes a movie good, regardless of, I need to see this before. If they do the right thing with the movie, okay? Like someone's ever watched Star Wars movie, they can watch Empire Strikes Back and go, wow, and they didn't see Star Wars. They don't know how Luke got there. They don't know what happened. You know what I mean? But the emotional draw in Empire Strikes Back cooks you, and you want to see it over and over again, because like, this was so good. I don't know who these people are, but it was fucking good. That's what's important. If they do the movie right, it's not going to matter.
You both are 100% correct. I don't think it's just not a problem, though, if they do add in so much of this knowledge and information that you would need to know to really, really grasp the story that would be in the Dave Filoni heir to the Empire movie. It is too far into the future for us to say whether that will be the case or not, but I can't see it being a potential problem.
You know what's the problem with? And I'm going to end this right here. The problem is going to be the Star Wars fans that don't want to watch Disney Plus because they're mad at fucking Star Wars. But when a new movie comes out, they can't help themselves. They want to go see it, and they're like, I don't want to watch this shit. Those are the ones.
Sure.
That are gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
There would have been more homework for Endgame and Infinity War than there will be for this Mando movie.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we don't make half.
Potentially, yeah.
This movie's probably going to come out in 3 years. It's like they have 5 more shows until then. In
In all
the
fairness,
Mandoverse, that is. In the Mandoverse.
And my source just texted me and telling me that Dave Filoni is having creative differences with Lucasfilm. So the movie's on.
That's anyone that works with Lucasfilm. Come on.
His ass is safer than anyone there. More safe than
That's
Kathleen
very
Kennedy.
true. Very true.
I agree with you guys to end this sort of debate. I agree with you guys. All right. You're right. It will affect. I don't know how much it will affect, but I can see it being a potential problem. And I want to say, we keep bringing up Marvel. This is a consistent complaint with Marvel. I know a lot of people, myself included, who do not watch Marvel anymore because they've built up so many things that you have to see. I'm like,
Sure.
I just don't care about these characters. Okay.
But they keep bringing their ass to the fucking theater. They just keep bringing their ass.
The shows are doing
movies
terribly.
Still making money.
The movies
doesn't matter. The movies are making money though.
The No Way Home did great. Yeah, okay, so fair enough. But yeah, I want to give my thoughts
Every
on
single
Thrawn
one
too.
of them,
Well,
every single one of them did better than Solo.
yeah,
So,
people
I
want to
mean-
watch shit ass movies. Yeah, whatever. I don't want to watch real cinema, Anyways, I want to give my thoughts on Thrawn. I thought he was great in it. I agree with you, Lunga. Seeing the whole kind of strategy playing out on the sort of board. I call it like a board game. You're playing some board game with your friends and stuff. He's got a little iPad tablet, clicking buttons and all that. I think I will say again, my favorite part is when he realized Ahsoka was Anakin's apprentice, and he kind of pauses for a moment. You get a nice pause, and he's like, "Okay, plans are changing. Call off the attack."
Yeah, but you wouldn't know about that, would you? You didn't read the book.
I'm going to. All right.
And
Chill.
it's not even plans are changing. I'm telling you,
fan.
he knew there was going to be a
changing in the
retreat.
eyes of his army and Morgan and all that, right? To
He
them,
knew,
that's
he
changing.
knew there was going to be. Oh, to them, yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
Guess what? He doesn't tell them everything.
I think my
Which
favorite
is,
line he
if you've
says
read
is,
the books.
okay,
Star
my
Wars
favorite
only.
line he says is that
How many
he says,
times does Thrawn say to subordinates and other people who had no reason to trust him, just trust me? And
Yeah.
they drove him crazy, and they just had to go along with it, and they just did it because it's like,
Yeah,
okay.
well, Thrawn's actually smart, though.
Well, Baylan is too.
As smart as
Let's not
Thrawn,
revisit
I
this.
don't know.
Seriously.
All right, so last episode comes out next week. It's going to be probably a dry spell for Star Wars a little bit after, but at least we know for next week we have something to look forward to. It's a big finale. I mean, we don't really know until we see it. But what is your predictions on this? It's prediction time. What do you guys think about the final episode? How do you guys see things ending? Because there's a couple stories that we have to tie up here. I mean, we have our main characters: Sabine, Ezra, Ahsoka. We have Thrawn, Baylan, Shin, Morgan Elsbeth, the Dark Sisters. Are all these people getting out of this galaxy at the end of episode 8? Is anyone dying at the end of episode 8? Are we getting back to the galaxy? Are we all trapped? I mean, what do you guys think is going to happen when the final credit rolls?
I think that Thrawn will be in the main galaxy, and there will be some sort of attack. I think the reason they're setting up all this New Republic stuff is because a lot of them are going to die in like some sort of attack, whether it be Senator Ziono or someone else, or that one woman who was in the 5th episode on those 3 cruisers. I think the reason they showed those is because they're all going to die or get seriously injured or something. So I think Thrawn's going to escape, return. I wouldn't be surprised if the season ended with Ahsoka, Ezra, and the whole gang still on the planet in this new galaxy. They need to find a new way to return. That's part of the cliffhanger. I don't think it is out of the realm of possibility that Ezra dies.
it kind of got
I
set
can
up
see
with
that,
that Hu
yeah.
Yang line, where he's saying, I hope I live to see the end and conclusion of this.
I think if Ezra died, that for one, we all know that the balls on Filoni would be huge. But there's just so much good narrative potential from killing off Ezra that Sabine did this whole thing just to get Ezra, and he ended up dying essentially because of her. And Thrawn still returned to the galaxy. Oh my god, that'd be really good. And I'm a big Rebels fan. I don't want to see Ezra die, but
I don't think
Yeah,
Dave Filoni has the heart to do that.
I don't think so either. But
if he did, I would give him.
I mean, making him technically sacrifice himself to save everybody 10 years later, finding him just to die again. I think that's a weird emotional impact.
He's like, yo, I sacrificed myself to save you, and you come to save me, and I have to sacrifice myself to save you.
Maybe it's not a sacrifice. Maybe he gets killed.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but but he's putting himself to help them. That's still sacrificing yourself.
Yeah.
If he's fighting, fine.
I think
Especially if he's not using the lightsaber because he's forces the ally.
They clearly set up Shin to have some form of redemption arc, which I said before, I don't want that, and I'm still 50-50 with that. I think there's a decent chance that we get that resolved in this next episode. I don't think we're done seeing Shin. I have suspicion we're not going to see Baylan in this next episode. Just slight suspicion.
No.
I think it's possible
that's worse than my take.
They can't. No.
Hey, they've done crazier things.
They brought him in.
They've done crazier things. All right. I don't know. Okay, we might see some of them, but let me reword. Okay, fine. We'll probably see some of Baylan, but we're not going to get really any information on what he's doing. I don't think any main characters are going to die, especially not Ezra. I think Hu Yang could die. They set that line up with him where he says, "I hope I live to see the end of this or see the conclusion." Whatever he said there, whatever he said, that to me is a Filoni kind of tease. I don't want him to die, but I think that's possible. Thrawn makes it out. The gang stays on this planet, and that's the cliffhanger, as Goldman said. I don't think the New Republic knows he's alive, though. I think they don't know of his existence yet. That's how I think it's going to end.
Huh? I feel
what
like
what would be nice? Do I get to go or no?
Oh, did you not go? Go ahead. Linda.
No.
Yeah, how does it feel?
This is what happens when I don't go first. I'm like, I'll let I've been going first the whole show. I'll let you guys go, and yeah, I get forgotten at the end. But anyway, like I did said by Thrawn's going to make it there, and I think it's going to end with him arriving there, and my plans are now. So I think that's what's going to happen with him. I'm split on if everybody stays there. If Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra, if he doesn't die. If they stay there, it's like it's kind of a deserted planet, unless the thread with what Baylan's looking for becomes their story there. But it seems very disjointed to do all that and really have no way back to the main galaxy. Like, what effect does that have? Unless something gets unleashed, or whatever. But I think that's odd. I think they're going to do the predictable thing and everybody makes it back, to be honest with you, because that's
you think they're going to get on Thrawn's ship?
So, yeah, they're going to
something like
Ezra
that.
got off, and they still haven't explained why Thrawn is like, well, we've had lots of casualties, and why I didn't go after for 10 years. I just let him roam around his planet, and then apparently my stormtroopers are all beat up by who? We're allied with the Night Switch sisters. We're allied with the bandits apparently because they went with Shin. So it's like, who beat you up so bad? Was it Ezra? Is that why you're so scared to go after him? Well, what happened there?
Purgles. It was the Purgles, Lunga.
Well, I was gonna say, what if the Purgles come back? I mean, they jumped into hyperspace, but where'd they go? They could come back.
Yeah, but I think I think they're gonna stow away somehow. I think the Purgles is too easy for that. While stowing away is too easy too, obviously. But I think that's the only way they're gonna be able to do that. I don't know.
So you think they're gonna go the safe route, quote unquote?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
this is Filoni. Filoni usually goes the safe route. Let's be fair.
He does. He doesn't like the stuff that you would kind of predict for, but he does make things interesting. Like for me, the way I see this finale going, I feel like Shin is gonna go after Baylan. She doesn't know where to go, so she goes to him. And she like follows him to this like new thing that he's looking for, whatever's calling to him. And we discover what it is kind of through her, and she may be like shocked by it or something like that. And I don't think anyone's getting back to the galaxy at the end of this episode. Like I don't think Thrawn's gonna like show up at the New Republic and start attacking, because Ahsoka just got to this galaxy in this episode. So it was a long jump. It took her a while to get there, like pretty much an entire episode. So Thrawn and them are going to jump, get the hell out of there. And I think for some reason, Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka are all going to be stranded on the planet, and they're going to have to use whatever Baylan has found as a way to get out of there, somehow, some way.
But it's like, Ezra's been there for 10 years, and he hasn't noticed a damn thing. Okay?
Well, Lunga, he's
noticed a damn thing.
Crew. They're all idiots.
Okay? A force push, hanging out with turtles. I didn't notice this big, important force thing, whatever Baylan's looking for is calling to him. He didn't notice a goddamn thing on this pretty much rocky Tatooine, because that's what it is. Okay, it's a rocky Tatooine, and there's like nothing there except bandits and turtles. Okay, and whatever Baylan's calling to, which Ezra didn't hear. I just think basing them being there for the next season seems like I don't think there's enough there for that.
I don't know. I mean, they got the Dathomir witch stuff and everything. That's pretty interesting. I mean, whatever this dark side thing that's
they're leaving.
They are. But there's like the history and the lore and the caves and all that stuff that they can explore.
This sounds just like it would work for a book. I mean, I agree. I don't think there's enough to make a second season from that.
Look, they're either going to have to go their separate ways with like not taking Thrawn's ship back, or they're going to have to get on Thrawn's ship to get back, which only would be interesting if Thrawn had like an agreement with them. It would not be interesting if they just stow away on it because Thrawn knows that that's what they're trying to do.
I do have a question for you guys, since we had a whole argument about Baylan and Shin, and Star Wars only brought up this whole point about how we're going to see through Shin's eyes. Would that resolve your issues with him not telling her anything if she does that runaway thing and then she decides, no, I need to know what's happening, and she follows him and then sees whatever happens? And
He's kind of like, I knew, I wanted to let you kind of decide. I knew you would come back.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
That would be perfectly fine.
Stumbles in on whatever he's finding, but whatever he's finding there has to be something to it, like. And what's crazy is I would have no idea what it is. Some people were speculating on Twitter, maybe it's Abeloth or it's the sun. And then some people were saying it was, the Zepho guy. That's the one they were saying.
The Bendu was another one they were talking about too.
Now, see, I will admit, I would be a bit of a sucker for the Bendu. If he showed up, I'd be like, all right, that's kind of cool.
Let me say this. What if it's nothing? I mean, we talk about how is Ezra not keeping track of this? What if, because he says so far this story is true based on things that I'm picking up on now. Could you imagine if it's like, oh, well, this part of the story was false? That would be terrible. It would be worse than not knowing.
That's like biting into a piece of raw chicken that's not cooked all the way through.
Be worse than not even knowing.
Baylan is looking for and finds. What if Ezra already knew about it and like had something to do with it? And
it's no big deal.
Then he better be a little bit more powerful. Then I would agree with that complaint. Then I agree.
Look, the Force push.
Did you guys like his little goofing around? He's like, "Hey, how about we talk?
Yeah, that's Ezra. Yeah.
It was Ezra.
That's perfect, Ezra. Wait, I want to say one more thing because we haven't talked about the best line in the episode, or I guess the best two lines. So the Emperor died. That's what they say.
So they say. I knew that was coming. I was like,
all over Twitter was that.
I audibly laughed when I saw that. That's what they say.
Now, do you guys think that was a nod or that was a poke? Because that felt like a poke to me. But...
Oh, definitely a poke. I don't know. Bringing back the Emperor is something Dave Filoni would do. Let's be real.
I didn't
not that way though.
Like, that's corny.
Not that way.
Sure, it's fair, but still.
Since I'm a chill, I saw it more as a nod. I don't think Dave Filoni would make fun of other parts of the Star Wars canon, but either way, it was some sort of acknowledgement of Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, did you guys hear though? The whole retcon is back. That even some Screen did an article on it that this is Filoni retconning it without retconning it, but they're gonna like change
moving the goalpost a little bit further. Well, it's not retconning, but it is. Trust me. Speaking of Rise of Skywalker reference, the duel between Shin and Ezra when he force pulls her saber away. You can actually link up the sound effects to when Rey does it to Kylo's saber and Rise of Skywalker. Drop it by a couple, and then it's actually the same sound effect. So cool little touch.
I did chuckle when Ahsoka Naruto ran away. She just
some things are meant better for animation.
No. Hang on. I completely forgot about this scene because of how small and meaningless it was in this episode. Anakin was in this.
Shit.
Remember that?
I was going to say at the beginning, thank you for reminding me. I was going to say that's why it was Palpatine's favorite episode, because it had more prequel stuff.
Actually, no, that was I forgot about that too, to be honest.
It was
cool.
I like the scene.
He looked great.
Could it be we might see these tapes again? That these are given to Luke?
No, because my boy at the gym, Jeremy, we talked for like an hour today, and our theory is Ahsoka's still alive by the Rey Jedi Order movie, right? And Rey and Ahsoka meet up, and then Rey's like asking questions, and Ahsoka's like, "We need some more training." Hold on. Let me continue on before you guys have a meltdown, okay? Ahsoka sees, okay, you're not so proficient with a lightsaber. Well, my master was Anakin Skywalker. Yes, he spoke to you during the battle with Palpatine. Here, I got these 20 clips of him. He's going to train you now. I'm going to be there to guide you, but we got this. That's what I think is going to happen, because they specifically showed her.
I think I'd go on strike.
I think it could be great. It's going to be great.
Protesting. She should be dead. She should be dead. Kill her. Like, oh my God.
I'm petty. I hope she's alive just so I see meltdowns. That would be
so
funny.
Old.
Breaking my heart.
No, that's not the right one. It would have been this.
I may have gone too far in a few places.
Look, everyone's like, how is she going to train? She needs more training in it. I'm giving you guys an option. I'm giving you an answer, and you're rejecting it. I'm sorry.
In the Rey movie, Ahsoka would be 86.
Do we know how long Togrutas live on average? Because isn't it like 200?
Okay, well, humans live to 86
no,
years old.
I believe they were around human average age. I have maybe a few years, but I think they were
According to
still in
who?
that
Because
80,
let's not act like
80
they
to
don't
90
change
year
things and
range.
Let's not
retcon
act like
things.
people can still be alive at 86 years old. Okay, it's like
Well, to be fair, anything we have about life expectancy, that's all going to come from EU stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Do we have a I mean, and not to act like
No,
canon
there's
means
no-
it's
there's
not
no
going to get
canon stuff.
retconned.
okay. Listen, Ahsoka's age
don't think they-
normally it's up to
She's
this
looking
point.
good for her age. I'm just saying.
Ahsoka's in her
30
40s,
years?
Rosario's in her 40s. Like, let's not just say like Togruta's age 200. Like,
Rosario's isn't she technically older than what Ahsoka would be?
I think a little
I think
bit,
so, yeah.
but not by much.
Yeah. So where I don't understand what the problem here is.
This is not.
She looks
She
good.
shouldn't be alive
right.
by Rise of Skywalker. That's the only problem, all right? You just let stories.
But you
end.
see, she's the
God.
daughter. Anakin is the father, and then
No,
who's
I
the son?
hate that.
Whatever-
She could be,
whatever
she
the
could be
theory is.
a wrinkled prune. She could be a wrinkled
God.
prune living on Dagobah like Yoda. She could just
Our
be
killer's the
chilling in this cave.
son. Like, god damn it, go read some Shakespeare or something in your life. Like, this is just horrible. Like,
You're not
I
a
don't
fan
want
of it?
the more. No, I'm not a fan. Look, I am so tired of Anakin being like some renowned. He's literally just the chosen one, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants. It's annoying. Oh, his midichlorian count is and that why he can be the best pilot in the whole world. It's poor storytelling.
Just stop, man.
Harry
I know you
Potter-
don't
I
know
agree.
the story of Anakin. Enough's enough. All right. We'll have to have an Anakin Skywalker debate someday.
There's nothing to debate. He sucks.
There is, because you're wrong.
You look at little 9-year-old orphan Annie and tell me that's a great character.
No, it's
Listen,
pretty
this
bad.
is-
It's pretty
this
bad
is-
there.
Yeah,
But
we got to put it in
whatever.
perspective. This is
When you
the
guys-
same
no,
man
No, when they
who
talk about
hates
Anakin,
Darth
they-
Revan.
No, he's just
Okay.
a little.
He's
much.
space Jesus. He's just space Jesus.
He is kind of space Jesus. You want to talk about Star Killer being overpowered? Darth Revan died. His spirit came back as a light side and a dark side. Like this is
Yes,
the
he
dumbest
split.
thing I've ever. This is the dumbest fucking
and
explanation ever.
as much as I dislike the prequels, you can't sit around saying that the prequels made up the dyad because they didn't.
You mean the sequels?
Sequel trilogies. You can't say that the sequel trilogies made up the dyad
They didn't. They just did the best version of it.
because the first
That's
dyad was
horrible.
that it was Bastila and
they
and
did a
Revan,
version
so.
of it. Yes, that is true.
The only thing I don't like about it is like the explanation is like, well, the rule 2 is actually based off this other thing called the dyad. It's like, no, the rule 2 was cool, and you just changed it for your
They
own
didn't say
shit.
it's based off of it.
They
Palpatine was
did.
just
I have
trying
the
to
book.
make a dyad. That's
No,
that's
I-
different.
Alright,
That's
you guys
different.
are-
No,
like-
I have the Sith book. I'll show
I
you.
have it too somewhere around
No,
here.
you gotta
I
read it
don't.
again.
But did you actually read it, Pelpa Memes?
Yeah,
That's
of course
the
I read it.
question.
I mean, I know I'm kind of brain
I
dead, but
did
yeah.
read it in 2028.
I've
He
got
just,
it.
he just collects things. He likes how it looks on his bookshelf. He just
It makes me look smarter than I really am.
I have all these Star Wars books. I've only read half of them back here. So if you want to criticize someone,
Okay, I will say, there are Star Wars books I have read, specifically The High Republic, where I've gotten and started to read, and after 4 chapters, I do not touch them again. But I think that's more than fair.
I will say this: I picked up one of the Revan books, and as much as I love Revan, I only
I've
got
heard
through
it
the first
destroys
couple
his
chapters.
character. Whatever.
I
the
only got through the first couple chapters. I was.
A great
I remember
reference
which one I
because you
got.
take on Emperor Vitiate. I mean,
Which one did I even get? Because I can't even find like a reading order for these books. I don't even know how for those Revan books. I don't even know what order you're supposed to freaking read them in.
no, there's for the EU. There's a
One
page
Revan
on the
book.
front that says like the order that it goes in the timeline and everything.
Thank God for the
Yeah, but I don't want to look through 300 books to find specifically the Revan. I just want to know the Revan ones. What order do I got to watch those in?
Well, I know there's like a bunch of Old Republic books, and then there's just one called Revan.
Yes.
Yeah, I have Star Wars the Old Republic Revan. And I have Star Wars the Old Republic Fatal Alliance, Star Wars the Old Republic Deceived.
Yeah,
That's
I
the one with
haven't
dark
read any of
knowledge.
that crap.
And the Old Republic Revan is the one I started with, and I only got through like I think 4 or 5 chapters, and I was getting bored.
All right.
Anyways.
Well, we gave our predictions. We all pretty much think Thrawn's at least getting out of here. You guys willing to bet who stays and who goes? Do you guys, Goldman has a bold prediction that Ezra might die, but do you guys think Baylan is going to die? That's the big one I want to know. Is he going to die?
No.
I think
say
Baylan
yes.
is going to
No.
die.
I
I
say
think Baylan
yes.
is going to die, and I think that has nothing to do with Ray Stevenson passing away. I think that was the plan.
Yeah,
part
I
of
think
it.
it's set up like that. So 2 yeses and 2 nos on Baylan's death. We all think Thrawn's getting back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could you imagine if they somehow stop him from leaving?
That'd be insane.
Could you imagine?
He's not even in the movie or anything because he's just
No. It's like, well, no,
All
there's
right.
something else. It's actually
So
just.
you
I
First
mean,
order.
there is dialogue to hint towards that because Ahsoka keeps talking about how that Sabine made the wrong decision and that Sabine wasn't trained to make the right decision, and the right decision is doing what Ezra did and keeping him here and making sure he doesn't get back. Or what if Ahsoka ends up stranded there?
That'd be interesting.
I mean, it's silly
I'd be
knowing
happy.
that now. To go on what you said, Star was only about if they stay in the planet. Now, I think if it's just Ahsoka staying there and her exploring things, and if the show is split between Ahsoka on this planet and what's going on in the galaxy, and then somehow Palpatine returns, she makes it back. That might work.
I don't see how only one of Sabine, Ezra, and Ahsoka could be left there, and the others escape. Like, are they just gonna would Sabine and Ezra just stow away on Thrawn ship while Ahsoka stays behind?
I don't know, maybe
don't see how
like
that would
Kanan sacrifice herself situation. Do you guys think like everybody's getting off eventually though? Like at least in this next episode, is anyone still on the planet at the end of the episode? Anyone that we care about character wise, or is everyone gone? Because I think honestly, it's. I feel like it has to be everybody gone. I feel like everybody has to leave for like the story to kind of.
I think in the end that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think Dave Filoni's going to go that route. It's going to be a happy ending, kind of more melancholy because Thrawn's out, so good luck with that. But yeah, I think we're going to get that simple kind of cookie cutter ending that we kind of should expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I have to nail down a prediction, I'm gonna go with Filoni's.
If I'm putting money on it, I'm like, okay, we're all getting on it.
Yeah,
Could you imagine if Ezra gets stuck there again?
Oh my god, that poor guy.
I'm throwing out the worst ideas.
Yeah, no. I think everyone does go back, but I don't think it's going to be like a happy ending. I think it's going to be like a shock and like sadness of, oh my god, Thrawn's really returned.
It's going to be a heavy hitter. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think somebody like maybe on like the good side has to get hurt. Like Hugh Yang might die. I think for the series they have to have some kind of emotional feeling, and I think him dying might be one of it. But I don't see how he could. Yeah, that was a big one.
I think it's going to be the what's it called? Like the New Republic ship. Like that's going to be the dread. The Thrawn just killed a bunch of New Republic people and he's back.
Yeah, but doesn't that hurt? How, I mean, if some major shit where tons of people died, doesn't that kind of mess up? Like they just do it again with the sequels. They didn't learn their lesson there. I mean that seems a little.
It is a good point, but I guess it would have to depend how it plays out. Like it could be just a military campaign,
or it's the
something happened in the 30 years. Retcon. Keep dreaming, guys. Keep dreaming.
I know that's not going to happen. I know.
Well, I think that's all we have for at least this episode of Ahsoka. We have one more coming out next week, and after that, we got a long wait, guys. Got a long wait till anything happens. The strike just ended, so hopefully that means we get some more clarity on like what the release schedule for 2024 is going to be like. But right now, it's kind of up in the air. But the actors are still, but the writers are over. All right. Well.
Yeah.
And I think
the
animators
first, so I think we'll be on track for things.
Well, that's the thing. They don't need the actors to write and get everything.
Writers come first, actors will come in due time. Yeah.
So it's good news. Things are going to start moving in again. We'll kind of keep you guys updated on what we're going to do for the show during the meantime of like the content break that we'll have. We'll go over some stuff that we missed in the past and everything, but we'll keep you guys updated. If you're watching on my channel, please subscribe to the Chatooine one. We're at, I think, 430 subscribers. So that's pretty good. We've gone up a lot in the past month that we've been back. So thank you guys for checking us out. I think that's all we got. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you all next week, Wednesday night, 9:30. Thank you all. May the force be with you always. Press in stream, Lunga.
Wow.